Are you ready to increase your retention and revenue and convert website traffic to clients? Then you're ready for Maya. Maya is a marketing and client recruitment software. Maya creates better business relationships by pairing the right clients with the right beauty professionals. How do we do it? A matchmaker. Your brand will have its own unique matchmaking survey. By pairing people based on their skill set, budget, personality, and lifestyle preferences, Maya creates lasting relationships that keep both sides coming back for more. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Pair the right clients with the right beauty pros the first time. Visit joinmaya.com to get started.
Thank you for joining me. This is Katie Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. It is time to talk about a new business model. And who better to bring here than industry giant Leon Alexander. Yes, I have him on our podcast today. He's a first-time guest. I cannot wait for you to hear from him. Let me tell you a little bit about Leon, who has a PhD originally from London, England. He began his career at Vidal Sassoon and became Sassoon Organization's general manager. He went on to acquire and run a collection of 320 salon locations, mainly in the UK. Leon next launched AVD Cosmetics and is credited with growing the company to over $40 million in annual sales. You think this is somebody that we should be listening to? I think so. I cannot wait because he has now launched since 2006 Eurisco Design with a vision of designing space around the emotional needs of the consumer, accommodating functionality of service. Leon is an author. He's written multiple books. He has a free gift. If you listen to the end of today's conversation, you're going to learn how you get a free gift from Leon today. He really understands why people buy. He's given TED Talks on this topic. And his real gift now at this stage of his career and journey is to help elevate the way we think in our industry and our business. So what a gift to have him here today. Without further ado, help me welcome Leon Alexander. Welcome to Beyond the Technique.
Thank you very much, Katie. Good to see you.
It's so good to be with you. We have to go way back. You've been in the industry for a long time with Vidal Sassoon. What an amazing gift. What made you decide to get into the beauty industry to begin with?
Well, it started really when I was young. I qualified at a young age with a PhD in behavioral psychology. And what do you do with a doctorate in behavioral psychology and no life skills? You go into the beauty business. There's a career for a psychologist in this industry for a lifetime. And I joined Vidal Sassoon as a Avadra. Avadra means that you watch. You don't actually do anything. You just watch. And then you do models in the evening. And I cut a long story short, I worked my way up to be a stylist, assistant manager, and then general manager. Joining Vidal Sassoon, that taught me systems. It taught me to be excellent. It taught me dedication. It taught me passion. It taught me so much. They went a different direction. They went into America. They went into the product side. And it was time after 10 years for me to take a different avenue to my career. And with a partner, we acquired salons, and we bought a group of salons. They were acquisitions and not organic. So we bought a group of 12 salons, and then continued in that path and buying 5 or 6 groups, put them together, and we ended up with 320 salons. And you could have 5 salons in the same city with different demographics, different kind of clientele, not knowing that the same owner owned it. And that taught me to be organized, systems, programs, and solutions. From there, I then had an opportunity to acquire the distribution of Aveda in the United Kingdom and Europe. Getting the distribution was difficult. But having $500,000 of inventory with no real marketing strategy was even more difficult. And that taught me how to panic. It was evident that a marketing strategy was required if we were to flourish. And the goal was to put the product in the bathrooms of everyone in the UK. And so I was mindful of what Walt Disney said. Think of what the competition are doing and do completely the opposite. We didn't go into salons. We went into department stores like Harrods, Harvey Nichols, Liberty, House of Fraser to learn how to retail against MAC, Shuamura, Estee Lauder. And that taught us really how to retail. And then we went into salons and didn't go in with a manual and say, this is how you retail. We took them to the locations and showed them how to retail. Always show people, don't tell them. That's how I got into the beauty business. Estee Lauder then acquired Aveda back in 97. And that's when I came to the States in 97. So I've been here 27 years.
I mean, this is so incredible, the journey you've been on. And you're obviously willing to take some risks. Where did your desire, like, where did that come from where you were willing to take big risks?
Well, I speak about this all the time. Almost every successful person begins with two beliefs. The future can be better than the present, and I have the power to make it so. And you have to take calculated risks. It just was innate in me that I kind of looked for the alternative way of looking at it. I never thought that I owned salons. And that's the fundamental key. If I get one thing across today, I don't believe salon owners own salons. I believe they own businesses that happen to be in the beauty industry. And if you accept that, then your business should be run on best business practices of successful retailers, marketers, and service providers outside the beauty industry. Emulate the best retail skills of Apple, of service providers like Michelin restaurants, of marketers like Walt Disney. They study the consumer and they build their model around their emotions. And that was an aha moment for me many, many years ago, that I don't own a salon or salons. I own a business that just happens to be in the beauty industry. My goal is to elevate that business. And I did it in a way that most people have a business plan. Most people have a financial plan. Most people have a marketing plan. I kind of evolved that to a strategic blueprint. A strategic blueprint really is something that, what is your core purpose? What is your vision? What is your mission? What is your sustainable competitive advantage? And what are your value system? I make sure that I knew what that was first before I went in to find out what my resources were. What's my financial resources? What's my technological resources? What's my human resources? And then I actually had some initiatives, which is what I want to achieve. And I had to measure that initiative so I can see where I'm going, when I'm going, at what particular time. So it's a strategic blueprint. My strategies, I may have 5 strategies. My initiatives is how I'm going to implement those strategies. And my key measurements are over what time frame and what goal is it that I can achieve those initiatives. And that to me is the vital. You talk about risk when you ask the question. The quality of your salon business and your life is in direct proportion to the amount of risk and uncertainty you can comfortably live with. I mean, that to me is fundamental. it's so that really kind of, I hope that sums up what you mean by
It
risk.
does. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, not only are you willing to take risks, but you really are an incredible strategist. Where did you learn the skill set of strategy, or how did you develop that skill set of being strategic?
I went outside of the industry to learn it. Um, what I love about our industry is that we have wonderful organizations, Intercoiffeur, Serious Business. There's a lot of good organizations. But what is required is not just to share best practices within the industry, is to go outside the industry and study the best of the best. What is it that makes them tick? What is it that really makes Steve Jobs tick? What is it that makes Walt Disney tick? Because they have a proven success rate, and it's the same consumer that go into our salons, that go into Starbucks, that go into Apple. It's the same consumer. And the aha moment for me is realizing that the people that came into my business weren't clients. They weren't guests. Guests come to my home. I wouldn't want to sell to them. You don't sell to guests. It's a mindset.
Mm.
That doesn't mean to say that I wouldn't give them the highest level of service, the highest quality of work. But I think of them as a consumer, and I adopt a consumer strategy, not a guest strategy.
Mm.
Expectancy determines outcome. By changing your internal dialogue, you can influence your chemistry. So strategy comes from outside. And it's just emulating the best practices of successful organizations. And then I created my own strategic blueprint with the things that I mentioned before. So
Okay.
yeah,
I mean,
that
that's huge. I'm frantically writing down almost every sentence that you are saying, because they're all like, they could be quotes that we put out for endless amount of content, because they're so good and they could all be broken down into something even more special. I love that you brought up that we really, this was an aha for me, just this moment of like, the same consumers that shop at Apple, that shop at Starbucks, that go to are our same consumers. And there's something weird that happens to salon owners, I think, that separate that. And so it's so smart, that it's so simple. It makes so much sense. It's like we've never thought of it before. We think, our industry is so different than where they go anywhere else. Nobody can understand what it's like to have a salon, but the consumer doesn't look at it like that. They're shopping where they want to shop. It's based on the emotions of how they feel, what they value. And so when we think about consumers and wanting to come into a salon business, you happen to run a business that's, serves the beauty industry. What are they looking for, do you believe? And this kind of leads into, it's time to maybe revise the model that we have. You're already saying so much that helps us rethink how we think about ourselves,
right.
our role, and who we do business with. But tell us a bit about that.
Well, some of the top salons in our industry, household names, are not making serious profits because they run it like a salon. It's a misconception that consumers come into salons purely for a service. They come in for an experience. And we've elevated in our industry, or some have, from a service to an experience. The key is to take another giant leap and elevate it to a personalized experience. So, in other words, let me give you an analogy. If you go to McDonald's and order, you line up, you order, get a hamburger, large fries, small fries, Coke, pay a small amount of money, you sit down and eat your meal. McDonald's has met your expectations. You don't walk out of there and say, wow, that was fantastic. But I'm now picture the scene. You're going to Pierre's restaurant and Pierre greets you at the door personally. and he escorts you to a little waiting area where he gives you a complimentary cocktail. The maitre d' comes over and says, we have your fresh sea bass that you love today, and your favorite bottle of wine is on the side. The music's romantic. You happen to be with your accountant, but it's still romantic. The wine is superb. The food is superb. The next day, when somebody says, what did you do last night? You will talk about it. I went to Pierre's. It was incredible. You see, people talk about exceptional and poor service. If it's poor, they say, don't go there again. If it's exceptional, they'll talk about it. They don't talk about good or average. So we need to elevate the experience to a personalized experience, not a generic one. And that's fundamental key. The level of financial success for a salon is determined by the foresight of the business model. The effectiveness of the business model is determined by the quality of the business plan. The success of the business plan is determined by sheer courage and a total application to implement that plan. You can't build the future with legacy thinking. I'll repeat that because it's so important. You can't build the future with legacy thinking, how we did it before, because the consumer has gone far ahead. Technology has gone far ahead, but our industry has not. Today's initiatives are tomorrow's minimum standards with increasing rapidity. So we have to kind of live at that same level of the future. And we have to stay in an equilibrium mindset to be able to do that. You know,
I know. Yep. I know owners are listening right now thinking to themselves, I want that. I want to be exceptional. I want to make it personalized. They're asking themselves, what do we need to do and how do we need to do it? And can I afford to do it? What would you say to them?
well, what I'll say to them is that the industry is basically in two camps at the moment. It's two distinct camps. Those that believe they own and work in a salon, and another more enlightened camp which accepts that society's moved into the digital era. When we marry the two aspects of excellent service and great digital marketing, you've got a business model that has no place for legacy thinking. And the problem that we have is if you ask somebody at 10 o'clock or 4 o'clock, because of your biorhythms, because of your emotional changes, you may get a different answer to the same question. You have to train yourself to be equilibrium so that if I were to ask you something at different times of the day, you will give me the same answer. It's staying consistent to your goals instead of changing depending on your biorhythms and mood. It's an emotional scale, and I'll briefly explain what that means. Every one of us has an emotional scale that fluctuates daily. Certain things happen that are good and bad, and that changes the way we think because our minds is on something else. 10 is high and 1 is low. Now, most people don't reach a 1 or a 10 ever. 10 could be you've just won 5 million at the lottery. That's a rare event. 1 would be suicidal. So most people don't reach those levels, but they fluctuate between 3 and 8 every day, depending on things that happen to you. I train myself to fluctuate between 4 and 6. So if you actually ask me a question at a certain time, it'd probably be the same question no matter what. You may not like the answer, but it'll be consistent. It'll be a consistent question, response rather. And that's fundamental key to doing so. The other thing is setting aside a time to be creative on the business, not in the business. So, you know, it's hard to build the future with new ideas if you're actually in the salon, the phones are going and staff are questioning you. Set time aside. Make sure your vision is marketable and in line where the consumer's going. Why do salons only sell wet products? Shampoo. Why? Starbucks only have 37% of what they sell is coffee. They sell music, beer in some of them, all sorts of different things, food. CVS, only 42% is pharmaceutical. They sell a lot of other things. Gas stations, they sell a lot of things other. Why are we just selling wet products? I think what we need to do is go back to what I said at the beginning and think we own a business that happens to be in the beauty industry. We've done some salons that have had champagne bars, wine bars, coffee bars, juice bars, retail other than hair products. I was in a spa a period of time ago, and they only sold skincare. I said, well, why don't you sell hair care? They said, well, I'm a spa. So I said, well, do the people that come into your business, do they have hair? I said, yeah. So why wouldn't you sell hair care as well? They did. And reverse it, in your hair care, why would you not sell other things that people can buy? Because we're consumers. We have to kind of think of them as consumer and then adopt a consumer strategy. That's fundamental key.
Okay, so my head's going in so many places, and I kind of said how you've written a couple books. Your most recent book is going to be available for those who listen to the very end. We have a special opportunity for all of you. But the most recent book is called From Comfort to Growth. And you really break all of these different ideas down, which I think is going to be really helpful for everybody. And you did talk about kind of the layout and design of the future salon, um, incorporating some of these elements like the champagne bar, coffee bar. I think a lot of owners listening are like, I would love to do that. You even had where you shared a little bit about your retail becomes more of an experience center, but you personalize it using digital elements like a touch screen monitor where people can, wow, we're all like, yes, I want that. I think that owners right now are struggling with, as you know, and talk about profitability. So, how do we take the big leap if we don't have the capital to do it? And what are some small steps we could take
Mhm.
to get us a little headway to then be able to do the big things? And I, most people listening have never probably created like a roadmap, but how could they start so that we can really help them be sustainable? And that's the threat we face, is not lasting another 5 to 10 years. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's an old system that still works today, and that is looking at your kind of a SWOT analysis, which is your strengths, your weaknesses, etc. It's an old one, but it's still applicable to look at your business from a critical eye. Any salon that adds significant value to the service and retail they sell has a place in the future. Any salon. And it's not impossible. Impossible is where logic thinking ends and creative thinking begins. The world achievers have always focused on the possible, so seize that day and seize that vision. Technology has advanced the consumer and businesses outside of our industry incredibly. There are salons in Europe that do not have any desks at all. The consumer comes in, they're greeted by a concierge who brings them through. The stations have smart mirrors built into them where you're superimposing your avatar onto the screen and you can pick any color you want, 50, 60 different colors, and see yourself in that color before you have the color. Additionally, after the service, all of the products used on the consumer are brought up, and it shows a video of them being applied. It shows the features, the benefits, etc. And the consumer, via voice activation, orders it while it's in the chair. They order the products in the chair. Going back to personalized experiences again, that's a personalized experience. Another kind of bête noire for me is you go into most salons and they have one track of music playing, but when you look at the consumer, you've got 18-year-olds and you've got mature people. How could one track of music be appropriate? Not anymore. Over the station, there is a tile, like a 3 foot by 3 foot tile over the station that's voice activated by the consumer. And the consumer can say classical music. And classical music within that 3 foot area plays. When you stand outside of it, it's silent. The next consumer can say, I want jazz. And the next consumer can say, well, I've got a headache. I don't want any music. You're personalizing it for the people. I got the idea from the Guggenheim, where you stand on a spot and it tells you about the art that you're looking at. So technology is going to dramatically change. There's a brush now that you brush the hair and it sends information from the brush to your phone. It's called a smart brush on the protein content and the elasticity of the hair and the content of what needs for treatments. There's so much advancements now with technology. The truth is that the industry is kind of in 2 or 3 areas. You've got the high end, you've got the chain, and you've got the budget and suites. You're always going to have salons in the budget end because they've got low overheads and low costs. But some pioneers are going to build a model. They're going to build a model around the consumer, and they will flourish. They will flourish in this industry. There'll be subscription-based salon models. So people pay ahead for their service, and it's a growing force. Membership will be the holy grail for a salon, aiming at deepening an engagement with the customers. Salon technology, as we know it today, will look primitive in the near future. When we describe to our grandchildren how we once sat by the light of our computers, clicking on 2-dimensional pictures, entering our payment information, and then waiting for a petroleum-powered delivery truck to arrive, they will pity us and marvel how we ever survived. Mm-hmm. So, it's so important. Using the right words is important. Words matter. They reinforce certain paradigms and perceptions. So that's why I say at the beginning, stop calling them salons and see what happens. They're just spaces with audiences. Run with it. Blow up the model. Have fun. Risk. Reinvent. Not, just build a business around your core value, which is doing hair, but don't limit it to that. Vidal Sassoon never said Vidal Sassoon Salon. Tony and Guy doesn't say Tony and Guy Salon. Apple has nothing to do with technology. Google has nothing to do with search. Amazon, they've used words that you could have multiple businesses associated with that word, if possible. So we just have to change our thinking, elevate our thinking. We're on stage. We have to make sure that we entertain people. The salon's a stage. All the staff are actors. The customers are the audience, and our job is to entertain them. They come for entertainment. They come for experiences. They come for personalized feeling. You've got to have a clear vision of where you're going, and you have to decide who you are, who you want, and how you want to feel. Then reject everything else that doesn't align with your choices. That's the only way. You can't have a bit of that. Be very clear on your vision of where the business will be. Not now, but in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years. Is it in alignment where the consumer's going? Is it in alignment where technology is going? Vitally important, because you can have a vision that's not in alignment with the consumer or technology. So that's critical.
It's so good. I'm inspired. I could talk to you all day. I think that owners in this industry who have businesses that serve beauty I'm gonna have to like work on reframing that. Really need this episode and your book. So tell us a little bit more about your book and how can listeners get their hands on it?
So I wrote a book, I think it was 9, 10 years ago, called A Window into the Consumer's Mind. And over the last 10 years, I have written articles that all have been published in trade journals like Salon Today, and aphorisms, which are kind of words that you can use and sayings. And all I've done is compiled these articles into a book, these published articles. So you can read the book in any order you want because it's not continuous. You could read chapter 16, then chapter 4. And it's all it's applicable to most industries and really about yourself as well. So, the way of doing that is just if you supply my email address and write to me, I will send you a PDF copy of the book because I'm not selling the book. I'm giving it away because I want people to kind of change their mindset.
I love
So
that.
that
Thank you so much. And for everybody listening, we're going to have Leon's email to directly communicate with him in our show notes, along with his website and social media. Okay, before we near the end, I have a couple more questions. You've talked a lot about looking outside of our industry. You've named companies like Disney and Apple and Starbucks and whatnot, and even, but who in the industry, is there anybody that you're like, wow, they get it and they're doing it really, really well? Is there anybody in the industry that,
absolutely. I mean, look, you've got companies like Penzone. Penzone, an incredible business. They've been around a long time. They're doing it really right. Van Michael, incredible business. Jute, incredible business. There's a lot of companies that are doing it right. Unfortunately, they're not. We don't have as many because they're still doing it as a salon in legacy thinking, but it's taking that giant leap. It's stepping out of your comfort zone, stepping away from your comfort zone, and taking a calculated risk.
Yep.
I mean, to me, that's the fundamental goal. Creating a new business model. Achieve a new business model is not something you can outsource. It requires significant organizational introspection, courage, honesty, and design thinking.
Mm.
There's no kind of off-the-shelf solution to it. There's no app and no magic to it. Just the willingness to reinvent, reimagine, and risk the occasional mistake. Think of it this way. If it isn't risky, it's probably not innovative. You have to aim high, really high. So high, in fact, that even the echoes of failure will have echoes of glory.
Mm. Yep.
That's how high you have to aim. If you want a business that does 5 million, aim at 10 million. That's fundamentally aim high and make sure that you've done everything you can and review it all the time. Don't just have a business model and put it in the drawer. Don't have a mission and not live that mission, because that's just writing one for writing's sake. You have to have it and live that mission. You have to have a value system. You have to have a value system, and that's key. The quality of your life is determined by the decisions you make and how you think. How you think affects the decisions you make. The decisions you make affect the quality of your business and the quality of life.
Mm.
It's all down to values.
Well, Leon, before we're done here, my final kind of curious question for you is, for you personally, what's next for you? What role are you currently playing? What are you looking to do over the next 3 to 5 years?
5 years, 5 years, I won't be around probably. Um, so I'm still on this journey about changing thinking, changing businesses uh, to maximize the potential of that location. The goal is not, I hear it for a long time. I want to take my business to the next level. What does that mean? I don't even know what the next level is. I don't want to take the business to the next level. I don't want to increase my business. I want to maximize the potential of that business. And if you've got 1,500 square feet or 5,000 square feet, your goal should be to maximize the potential of that business. So I want to help people through design and through changing their thinking to maximizing the potential of their businesses. That's the fundamental key.
Well, I know everybody listening today is on board. If you're not inspired, I don't know what is happening because I'm over here very inspired and taking away so much from this conversation. We have to do this again, Leon. We have to do this
Oh,
again.
you will.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for taking time to impart
Oh,
your
you're
wisdom on
welcome.
us today. Thank
Let
you.
me just close with this, if I may.
Yes, absolutely.
You will most likely not be willing to step out of your comfort zone and into the discomfort until you're extremely uncomfortable with the comfort zone itself.
Mm.
The view you adopt about yourself profoundly affects the way you think. How you think affects the decisions you make and the way you lead your life. And the way you lead your life affects the vision and mindset of your salon business. So it's all a matter of how you think. What comes in will come out. Thank you.
So good. Amazing. Well, thank you again. And for everybody, remember, go and email Leon to get your free copy of his incredible compilation of articles that have really helped so many in the industry rethink, reimagine, and re-strategize their business that happens to be in the beauty industry, which we love. We love all of you. If you appreciate this platform, we would appreciate if you could take a moment to leave us a positive review wherever you're listening so that more people like yourself will discover beyond the technique, or we're here to change the way that you are supported in your business. Until next time, everybody, have an awesome day and stay strong.